It's just like the Olympics. If you have the Olympic Games, if you have to have the same thing. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make it an Olympic sport.
I've learned a lot over the 4 decades of health and fitness and being in the trenches with the greatest in the world. And one of those things I've learned a lot more about and how to build better muscle is nutrition and how it has changed over the decades. And that's why I have the Titan meal plan for you guys out there that are confused about nutrition. I'm going to set you straight. Get a hold of me today. The link will be in the comments down below for you guys. Everybody, get over to the Titan meal plan, and I'll see you in the Titan crew where I will fine-tune any difficulties that you're having. You guys look incredible. Let me just start off by saying this. So, to the world, please, will you introduce yourself and what you do?
Great. I'm Denny Kakos. I'm the world president and founder of the INBA PNBA, and we're promoting natural sports all over the world, over 70 countries.
And I'm Diana Kakos. I'm the CEO. I wear many hats in the INBA PNBA, here to take care of the elite natural athletes.
I love it. I've known you guys since I'm gonna age myself here, since the late 80s when I started competing in your league. And one thing I found out early on is that you really made something that took it back to my young years, where the show was about the competitors. And if you're a fan of it, then you're going to enjoy the show. But it was really about the competitors, those people that put the 3-4 years of training into getting on stage, and the enjoyment that I grew up with as a 13, 14-year-old getting on stage of real competition and being back there and being taken care of and doing a show and not rushed in, rushed out. I always felt like some organizations kind of rush you in, rush you out, and you want to show the artwork. And so I want to say thank you to you both.
Oh, you're so welcome. That's the impact we want to have. And especially with the up and coming generation, our youth, they need to come in, get the taste of it, get hooked, so to speak, keep training and grow with the sport.
Our motto when we started, the first thing we started the INBA was serving the natural athlete. And that's what we wanted to do. It's all about the athletes. It's not about us or anything, and the sport. And that's the most important thing.
When you guys first started, it seemed to me with a blink of the eye, it took off. And I know that it probably wasn't that way. And so I'd like to go back to the beginning just for a moment and talk about what made you start promoting your own organization, and maybe you step away from another organization to do this.
Yeah, I started the love of the sport. That was the most important thing. I owned a Gold's Gym at the time, and I enjoyed everything. And I'm in a different field. I was an architecture, city regional planner, and but I love the sport always, all my life. And we started promoting with at my gym, actually, and that was an article that I read from the iconic magazine, Iron Man magazine, and they were telling me that it'd be a good idea to do a little fitness competition in your gym to get everybody excited and all this stuff. So I did that. I did a couple of times, and it was very successful. People loved it. We closed down the gym for a day, and we had fun. And then afterwards, somebody told me about the NPC. That at that time, that's the only organization that was around to promote a show there with them, which I did and was very successful. I did it for about close to 8 years with them. I had 3 shows, sellouts, tremendous. But the sport was going the wrong way, Mike. It was going to where it was, women would started using steroids. Everybody was going to enhance, and it was just getting to a point where
designer
we lost
drugs.
Yeah, designer drugs.
Went over too far for us.
And I just lost that. I wanted the sport to be pure and and help the young kids coming up. Not you have to use this. So I spoke to Jim Mannion, and I said, I want to do a natural show. He told me that's not the way to go. You're going to lose your pants. I said, no problems. It's my pants. Let me use it. But anyway, what happened was that we had over 170 competitors, I think it was, came in. And we tested at that time because, it was the early days with polygraph. But the polygraph was not 15 minutes. It was an hour and a half. And
super sophisticated even back then.
And we did it for 3 days to compete. And then 20 athletes, I think, failed. 25 athletes failed. But we had a tremendous show. And we did it. The first time we did that, I wanted to get everybody, because they were coming from Canada, East Coast, West Coast. They came from actually from Brazil. But anyway, the thing we wanted to do was to have them have the stage, and we wanted to have the stage for them, and we didn't want to just cut anybody off. So we let a lot of people pose more than usual. We stayed until 3 o'clock in the morning, but everybody loved it. We had a sellout. And from that on, that's when we grew. That's when we grew. And then we said, this is where it's at for us. And we spun off because the NPC didn't want to do that. They didn't want to go Jim Mannion didn't have, that's not what he wanted to do. So we started doing that, and it really started really well, fast. The following year, I had people coming in from New Zealand, they're Australia. They started coming. They saw, heard of us. It was mainly because of the Gold's gyms, because I owned a Gold's gym, and I had posters in it, and people would visit the main gym in Venice, and they would get that information from us and contacted us. And then a few years later, we joined together, all of us, and we started to grow. And it's been now over 70 countries. 17 countries came this year together to join us with INBA,
Super
PNBA.
Exciting.
Yeah,
I love that, and I love the fact that I get to speak about this personally because I was there, and I got to do that. Now I didn't fly from New Zealand and Australia or wherever, but I did come down from Washington back in the 80s to do a show in California. And that's when I really fell in love with it. And I also fell in love with the idea on how you tested people and really stayed on it. And so I could appreciate that. And being a person that's my belief from the start of this, I don't know why it was, but I wanted to do it for a lifetime. And so my choices kind of set me in that path to be able to do it for a lifetime. And I like that you guys offer, and that's all this is. It really is. You're offering to a demographic that would like to show their artwork, their bodies. In my opinion, I don't think of it as a sport. I think it's an art show, and they're creating this art. All sports work out, but we get up there and show our art piece to the world, and you guys give a stage for those people that maybe choose to look a different way or do it a different way. And I think that's great that there's different. If somebody wants to go one way, they can. If they want to go another way, they can. And I think it's just a beautiful thing, especially with kids, because the older and older I get, I see that my early decisions set you up to win later in life. And I know that a lot of people are going to watch this and go, all of you, nah, that's not what I want to do. And I go, but young and wanting to be a champion is a very addictive thing that could lead you down a wrong road. And I think that's the real reason I want to talk to you guys today, because of the fact that, and tell the world from my stage here about you guys, if they didn't know about getting on there and getting on stage in a way that you could do it differently than a lot of other organizations do. And again, one of those things is I know that a lot of people are worried about, they want to go in, they want to win. But you guys do such a good job on keeping it fair, I guess you would say, right?
Even playing field. That's where we're all at.
I mean, that's the end goal for us, is our integrity. So are we perfect? Probably not 100%, but the end goal is to be as close to perfect and to be as fair as possible, regardless if the judges are trainers or they know people or they have clients, they have to step away if they're judging. We just want them to look at the physique and judge the physique according to that criteria. And Denny and I are there at almost every event to ensure that that's what happens. And that's what our leadership and our global vision is. And that's what, our affiliates believe the same way. So they make sure that that integrity is there too. People are treated fairly. They're given enough time and, stage time. And it's all encompassing. It's all inclusive as part of the INBA, PNBA global family. You don't just come and do a show and step out. You're going to come in and probably make friends for life. You're going to really do well regardless of your placement. And you're going to want to come back and do it again. You want to jump on the team concept, go with it, get on Team USA, get on your team, whatever country you're in.
All over the world.
Come and compete all over the world, world championships, natural universe, World Cup, and then the flagship, the pinnacle, Natural Olympia. That's where you bring your flag, you fly your flag, you get your podium, your national anthem played. That's the closest we can get it to the Olympic Games. So there's something to grow with once you start. And if you start young, you have your whole future in it. Like yourself, you've made it's, I mean, in reading now what's going on, it's integral part of functional medicine to make sure that you're training. And so many of our, I would say, mature athletes, they're using it just for that. 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. I mean, there'll be more athletes competing naturally, I'd say, from their 70s, 80s, maybe even close to their hundreds. We're going to see it. I mean, and you're going to be around because that's what you do. I think that's one of your goals.
It is definitely my goal, because I am a new father for the first time, and it is an amazing thing. But I'm a late father, so that makes me even go even a little harder in the aspect of that I need to be able to tussle in 10, 15 years when my son's that age to where I can still go out and play ball and wrestle and do all those kind of things with a young child. So as he grows,
absolutely.
With that being said, I would like to touch base with the aspect that you're talking about too, which I think is an incredible opportunity. And that is for weightlifting is so beneficial as you age. And I try to teach that there is such I guess a missed goal or a missed benefit of exercise and health and fitness and bodybuilding, powerlifting, and doing any kind of weightlifting that I think most people miss because they're so enamored by the visual.
Yes.
I get that you want to look good and I get that you want to be a beautiful person on stage, but the benefits for health into your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s is so tremendous, not because of cardio, but because of weightlifting and creating muscularity and bone density to the body as you age. Can you guys talk a little bit about that and the competitors in their 40s, 50s, and 60s?
It's a bonus, actually. I mean, yeah, we do have these athletes that have, I would say, matured. I'll use that word, matured through the INBA, PNBA from a regular open category. Didn't even qualify for a Masters 40 to 49 or Grandmasters 50 to 59. Now we have a Pro Grandmasters 50 and up. So yes,
we get like 30 to 40 competitors in that division. I mean, because people are, living longer and
they're experienced. Yeah. They've been doing this, so they know exactly what they're getting out of it, and how to fine tune it to even present it on stage. So internal, external, the vision, but yeah, they're prolonging their life.
Philip Ricardo is 51 years old. And he's still competing. You think he came second at the Natural Olympic? It's unbelievable.
They're aging. Kiyoshi Moody, Peter Chahansky,
all these guys are
Barakat. Adrian's in his 40s now, so they're still solid. And
also the techniques is not. They exercise differently. They're not powerlifting as much as that is. Bodybuilding is a little bit more for the definition and the look and the feel and health. And so that's what people are doing right now. So they don't have to do this tremendous. Your joints won't be able to do it.
Extremely functional for the desired, outcome.
Yeah. I'll agree on the weightlifting on the bodybuilding, but I'll also agree that the blunt force trauma to powerlifting also helps people. It's just one of those things that if you've done it for a long time, don't start in your 60s powerlifting. That's not what I'm saying, but lifting itself is such an amazing, it is truly longevity. And my training partner, who's 78 now and one of the top legends in the world, Robbie Robinson, is continuously showing me what I should be like in 20, 25 years and the working out into that. And so it goes back to the point of the question now I would like to talk about, because I know that's a lot of people out there, is when you saw the sport going one way and you said, well, I want to go another way. What is it about the chemical side that got you concerned to go, I need to make my own step?
I think an even playing field was very attractive to us, to make sure that people had an even playing field. So that's when the testing came in, and, you know, we wanted to make sure everybody had a fair chance, you know, to compete and to say they were natural, to prove they were natural, and to have this opportunity to stand on stage with like-minded people that were natural. So it was an opportunity for really us to protect the athletes
and
in some way.
And the sport, that's the most
to create this even playing field, and to take it very seriously. Not to say, well, you know, he can come in if he wants, and, you know, well, don't worry about it. I mean, really with integrity, and I use that word a lot, really with integrity, to make sure that we were doing everything possible to give this type of athlete that even playing field and that ability to compete with like-minded people and like-minded athletes.
You know, in the past 23 years, we'll be doing with WADA approved labs testing. And, you know, we're trying to do the best as we can. If you check the lab, you'll find out that we test more people than the NFL. We find more people failing the test than the NFL or any other UFC, any of those things.
And it's because we have shows every weekend.
Yeah,
and sometimes we have 2 or 3, and it's global. So there's a lot of testing going on at these events that, you know, we promote. Now, not everybody fails, obviously.
Right.
There's people with no prohibited substances, all good. And then every once in a while, somebody slips up, and we investigate it, get to the bottom of it, sanction it, and move on. So,
no, Mike, like you said, there's 2 directions. Wherever people want to do it, if they want to be enhanced, that's fine. That's no problems at all. But we're trying to give them a playing field where they can come in and hopefully, you know, I mean, I can't tell you that we're 100%.
Yeah.
You know, you can't do that. But
you do your best. I understand that. I think everybody understands that. We're humans, and tests are, you know. I have a question though. Just because I've been doing health and fitness long enough since I can remember. But as I've aged, I realized that what is an even playing field, and what I mean by that is there are some guys that walk around with 1,000 test level. And then there's other guys that walk around and they're natural. And there's other guys that walk around with a 400 test level. And then there's other guys that are trying to have kids, and they'll do things like HCG or Clomifed and stuff like that. What is your take on people that are trying to stay natural, but maybe they want to have a child? Do they have to wait for a year or years, or they cannot compete at all? And then what about the people that maybe complain going, well, my testosterone's at 400, and if a person can be at 900, can't I take a little bit to be at 900? What's your take on all that?
Can't do any of it if you want to compete in a league such as the Olympic Games, such as the INBA, PNBA. We're at that level. We hold our athletes to an Olympic level standard. So unfortunately, unless you can prove medical necessity through a therapeutic use exemption, you will not be competing with the INBA, that, you know, or PNBA. That blows up the whole even playing field right there. So we have to make sure, and athletes have to divulge, and some will come forward and check, I'm on this. I want to make sure I didn't find it on the WADA prohibited list. It's very sophisticated. You know, they don't use generic names. They use the real brand names of things, the real technical chemical part of things. So yeah, we get people and young people all the time, athletes that want to compete, and they're like, I'm taking testosterone. And we're like, you know, if you're young, it's going to screw you up when you get into your 30s and 40s and 50s, because your body's not going to make it properly, you know. And we've had athletes that sit out for a year when it's time to, you know, take over with life. And we know life happens. And William Long's a perfect example of that. He and his wife have gone through huge infertility to have the children they've had. Now, is it bodybuilding? No. Does he have low testosterone? Maybe. But, you know, he's taken the appropriate time and they've taken the appropriate measures, but he has not done anything that would prohibit him from competing. So that's the mindset that an athlete has that competes with the INBA, PNBA. You have to go into your doctor if you have some kind of diagnosis or some kind of treatment and say,
just like the
I'm an elite natural athlete. Is this going to affect my ability to compete? You know, like in running, football, whatever, UFC, any other sport. Is it going to hamper my ability? Am I going to be knocked out? Because
see, that's where I went back to my understanding of health and fitness is that you can't keep breaking your body down. You got to let it recover. You got to try to get it balanced in that middle playing field. And I respect. I grew up in a martial arts world where they, mostly MMA fighters, train harder than anybody. And it's because they have to do so many different styles a day. They have to run, train with weights. They got to do jujitsu. They got to box. They got to wrestle. And so their bodies are so broken down. And so what I understood is that they were allowed to take something to at least get them back to a base so they're not destroying their bodies. And so that being understood, that made me happy for those athletes that they don't have to run themselves into the ground and destroy themselves to try to be the greatest, whatever sport they want to be. And it's great to hear that you guys, I mean, for anybody out there that goes, I want to be a father, you know, and you have to do something like fertility, that you take time off afterwards, and then you can still compete later on in life. And also fertility doesn't shut your body down. It's helping your body do its natural process.
It's part of the lifestyle and balance of what you want to create in your lifestyle. I mean, not bodybuilding, natural bodybuilding and competing is not the end all. It's for a lot of our athletes, it's their hobby and it's their lifestyle. And they just happen, you know, to be athletes prior or come into this in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. And they're like, why not compete? Why not see the world? Why not join this INBA, PNBA, you know, global family and get some attention out there? So I think it's great. It's a balance. People, like I said, take the time off, do what you need to do. But if you're a diabetic, if you have a real, you know, a heart condition, a cancer survivor, if you're on some type of medication that you can prove medical necessity, submit a therapeutic use exemption, our committee here will review it, because we know athletes from time to time are going to have a surgery, are going to have to take a pain medication, but we need to know all the information about it and make a really informed decision about approving you to compete. So.
It's just like the Olympics. If you have the Olympic Games, if you have to have the same thing. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make it an Olympic sport. And this is our future. Hopefully, this is where we're going with the countries that we've gathered.
If you are confused about training, do not worry. That's what the Titan training plan is for. For you guys to subscribe to this plan, you also get the additional coaching from me in the Titan private group. Get in there today, and I cannot wait to start working with you and making your dreams come true. Let's get back to the show. I think that would be awesome. Awesome. Could you imagine bodybuilding back in the Olympics? I think it was for a moment at one idea, or it was a discussion in that sense. And
yes, it was. And
wow, could you? And I think there's a physique that would be appealing to the world. And I've always said this. It's like Baywatch was famous. Why? It wasn't because of the writing. It was because it was attractive bodies on TV. Let's be honest. And it was appealing to the mass of the world.
That's exactly.
And so, and I think there's so many guys that I know and I grew up with that have those kind of physiques on your stages. So I had to say that just because I think it's just, bodybuilding isn't this thing. It is my life. And so I just love it so much. And I'd love to see it move to that level.
And Mike, one of the best physiques I've seen in the world was yours when I saw him in the 90s.
And I think that's a misconception about you as well, is people they just want to talk and say things, but they don't really understand and appreciate your commitment to your life and your health, and you're not giving it up, and you put the work in every day, and you eat and you train, and you know, this is your whole life. Basically, you live your life, you know, in the fitness industry, and you're out there, and you're an actor, and you're popular. So, I mean, you're kind of like, I don't want to say maybe the god of the natural sport.
Icon,
I mean,
totally icon.
And how old are you now? I mean,
I'm old. I'm 55 now. So
I'm
loving it.
It hasn't hurt you a bit, right?
That's what I keep trying to teach the people. And like you said, there's always going to be the naysayers, but I think the elites of the elites realize you can't be gassed out of your mind as a teenager or in your early 20s and assume that you get to keep that until you're almost 60. It just doesn't work that way. Or you lose strength, or you lose all that stuff because you have to go off that stuff at some time. You can't take something like that for 45 years. Body doesn't work that way. Drugs don't work that way. So again, to anybody that's thinking about this, for me, and I'd love to know you guys, I think if you are thinking about getting older and you're thinking about TRT, in no way do I think that's a bad thing. I think you should do your life first and foremost, and that's the most important thing, and raise your family and stay as healthy as you possibly can. But if you're going to do something like this and you want to stay natural, please get a hold of them and the league to see what you can do to continue to compete. Because I think you guys can agree with this. It is for me. I guest pose still a lot, and we're off next weekend and the weekend after that to guest pose. And I love guest posing because it forces me to do old school guest posing where I come in shape. You know, I don't want to come in shape at 300 pounds. I want to come on stage at 270 looking like a freak. Mm-hmm. And so I love that. And it keeps me active so I can still do the movies and do everything else, but have that nice physique, even though it's 270. I'm a tall guy. It still looks pleasing to the masses.
Yes, it is.
And so your take on people, and you guys have already kind of said it. You said, if you're going to compete, follow the rules, be proper. And I agree with that. Don't try to get into a natural show if you're on something. There's no point. Just,
that's what we're saying, you know.
Yeah. That's one of the biggest things I think is there's a difference between wanting to win. And that's what I love about you guys. And I think that there's the natural bodybuilding mentality is that they want to compete. Yes, everybody wants to win, but it's more important to compete and do it the best you can compared to I just want to win with all costs. Yeah. Is that something that you notice, that whole mentality?
It's in some instances, yes. And basically, yeah, we don't want anybody really, I mean, the life goal is not to be on any medication, to age gracefully, to live healthy into your, older years. And if you're going to pollute your body with things you don't need, and that's even if you fall under, the normal diabetes, heart disease, cholesterol, let's get to the root problem of all that and let's fix it. And on top of that, let's not take performance enhancing drugs that are going to shorten possibly your lifespan or cause you troubles, when you get older. So yeah, if you need it for your life, and I said like medical necessity, and you can still compete if you legitimately need that. But if not, you have other options. And if you want to go our way, you can go our way. So most definitely.
Yeah, it's sad that I see sometimes athletes. There's one of the athletes that I can tell you that came in from enhanced organization coming in just to get a trophy, and I always say, if you want a trophy, I'll just give you a trophy, you don't have to go take it away from it. I mean, that's not what it is. And another guy was telling me this is, we caught these people there, and they said, I did this for my mother, my mother ill, and I wanted to win this competition, so I took this drugs. But why would you come to a natural organization to do that? It's very disappointing. Mike, we test in season and off season testing. Especially for our pros. It is very expensive. It's not cheap what we're talking about here, but that's what we're trying to do. We put the money there for testing, and you can see at a Hall of Shame how many people we've caught. We've been there for life.
We should talk about that because I think that's great. I know that I guess it was Greg Duchette that tried to do a natural show and he got busted for it at one time. But these guys trying to slip in, you guys have your own wall of shame. Can you explain that?
Well, Diana, you're
Hall of Shame.
The Hall of Shame, yeah.
Hall of Shame.
Well, that's, if you're suspended in any way, shape, or form with the INBA, PNBA, part of the protocol, part of the rules are you're going to be put up on the Hall of Shame. When athletes do fail, and I do most of the communication with them, the number one thing they beg me, please, whatever you do, don't put me up on the Hall of Shame. And I'm like, you signed everything. You agreed to everything. This is part of it. Your peers, everybody you compete with, all the athletes, all the other federations need to know, Some people get, with stimulants and, other things, pre-workouts, it's really hard for the athletes to detect what's in that stuff, the fat burners. Those are minor. We give a 1 year suspension.
1 year suspension.
But when, you're stacked up and loaded up like that, you're banned for life. You're gone.
Some people have 12, 13 things in there, Mike. It's unbelievable.
Veterinarian grade stuff.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, things that, they don't even know what they're taking. They don't even know how harmful. The lab tells me you're doing these people a favor if they'll listen to you.
One thing that you guys are doing, and I think you need to do this, and I agree with your rules, is that because you are trying to help the sport and trying to get it to the Olympic Games, back into that, you kind of have to play by those rules and have to be stop, this is it. I'm not gonna waver that aspect of it. And I think that's a great thing, because maybe it doesn't happen this year, but you're going to be the closest thing to make that possibility happen by how you guys are treating the people right now, going, listen, this is what we want to do with ourselves. And I think it's a great thing. And I think it's especially great for young bodybuilders, and so many young teenage bodybuilders from your organization follow me and text me and message me. And I think it's great seeing those young 13, 14, 15-year-old kids going, hey, this is what I want to do, and this is the way I'm going to do it. And I'm like, oh, I love seeing that, mostly at that teenage years when the dreams are still there.
Exactly right.
It's a beautiful thing. But then on the flip side, I love seeing that the guys in their 50s and 60s and 70s are still getting out there and rocking and rolling. I do say this, though. Can you tell me where the top shows are this year? The U and the O for you guys. Where are those two shows this year?
The Natural Universe is going to be held in Romania. And our promoter there, INBA Romania, he's off the hook with his awards, his venue.
The venue is unbelievable. It's huge. It's the palace over there. It's
their
major. Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable.
His name is Adrian. Another Adrian.
The world championship.
Well, it's Adrian. Is it not?
It's not Adrian. It's a different Adrian.
Okay,
because Adrian. They're both Romanian, but this gentleman is, he's a gym owner. He's a promoter. He's an INBA Romania president. And he wanted the Natural Universe this year. So
I love that.
That's a traveling show. So that'll be in October. But before that, our World Championships is going to be in Manchester, England. Okay. So that's a Natural Olympia qualifier that's, mid-year in June. And that show travels. Last year we were in Florence, Italy. Yeah. Wow. And the year before that, we were in Romania. The year before that, we were in God help me out, Denny.
Greece, wasn't it?
Yeah, Greece, 2019, before that all started.
The thing, Mike, is this. When we do a world championships, it's not like in the United States when the other organization does like 1 or 2 countries. We have 47 countries came in last year in Florence.
And that's why I want you to talk about it, because I think it's incredible.
That's
you go on these shows.
Those flags is unbelievable. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it's like, I want to go with you guys.
I would love to see you there.
You got to get out of your comfort zone.
And that's what it is. It's a family. It's a global family that gets united and they get together and they have a great time. We expect for the Natural Olympia, when you came in last year, or the biggest show we ever had was before the COVID, was 2019, and we were in Vegas at the Rio. We had over 700 athletes, flags,
2 days.
Unbelievable 2-day event. It's a 4-day event actually, but 2 days of competition. It's fantastic. We have the Hall of Fame on Sunday. We have special awards for everybody. I mean, you've been there, so you've
press
seen
conference,
press conference for the athletes. We do a lot of good. We try for them to take care of the athletes. That's it. The World Championships will be held. The World Cup is going to be held in Hollywood.
Yeah,
and then
El
Segundo. And then a week later, which is a lot of people can do the World Cup first, then go to the Natural Olympia, will be in Vegas. It's always the second week in Vegas.
November.
The date again for the Olympia is?
It will be the 8th through the 12th in November. 8th to 12th November.
8th through 12th.
Yeah, and they have to qualify to go there. You have to, if you're a pro, you have to do at least one show beforehand to qualify.
And you guys do have an incredible turnout, because I was lucky enough to be honored and inducted into the Hall of Fame back in 2011. And so, again, thank you for that. And incredible crowd, incredible people around there. And again, I always think that, or I always feel like when I am at those shows, it's a great feeling, and the competitors are a little bit more interactive. Interactive.
Definitely.
Let me tell you,
they're cooking together, they're going off together, they're celebrating together, they're trading, their team uniforms, they're doing autographs, they're
everything.
Doing interviews. So it's really a huge celebration to close out the year at the Natural Olympia.
Very emotional. It really becomes very emotional. It's like, because they're family and we all know each other and we get together and it's a great time.
So right now we've been off since November, but this coming Saturday, we have our first workshop, which is kind of like a clinic, but a workshop. We already have 70 people signed up for that. So a lot of them are new. They want to come and meet the pros, learn how to pose, learn about the organization, learn the criteria. So, that's how we do it on the West Coast. We need to do some of these globally. And some of our, our athletes, they host their own posing clinics and things like that. So if you're in the industry, it just helps you. I mean, everything you do in this community that we're in doesn't hurt you, it helps you. And if you're in the industry, if you're a trainer or gym owner in the supplement realm, I mean, it's all good. It's all benefit.
I think that's one of the great things is that you guys are giving mostly because now when I was competing, there wasn't social media.
Correct.
I think it's great now that you guys give a platform for these other individuals to still create a name for themselves. Because you're very supportive during the show, but after the show and before the shows. So it's a real beneficial for anybody that's out there that's thinking about competing and making a name for themselves on the bodybuilding stage. I think it's again, you guys crush it. I think the world of you guys. I always have. And you guys have been tremendous.
Thank you for supporting the sport. Thank you so much.
Thank you for always thinking about us and talking us up and, all positive. So we watch you too. We see you're always doing great things, you and the family. So
it's a nice house. I saw the beautiful house to mention.
Congratulations.
Wait a minute. No, I've been to your house and that thing is like, wow. So,
all hard work. All hard work.
Both of us, we work hard. All of you guys.
Deserved. And then you guys, there's the Iron Man cover right there. You guys are doing so much just all the way around for health and fitness, bodybuilding, and just people that would like to live a healthy lifestyle. And I think at the end of the day, that's all we're asking and hoping for somebody to have that choice. And I think when it comes down to you guys, I think it's a choice and you're there to help. And so it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Come and be part of it. The INBA, PNBA global family.
You're part of the family.
We're all here with open arms. So many people here just to embrace you and share your vision,
Well, I might see you in Romania then because I got to get back to the motherland. My baby mama is from Romania.
Oh,
absolutely. They'd love it. I have to put you in touch with that Adrian over there. So.
I might have to do that because we got to get back here.
Love to have you. Denny and I got to go there a couple of years ago and we sightseeing. We got to see everything. It was beautiful. And it was during COVID, so I'm sure it's even going to be much better.
Did you go to Count Dracula's castle?
We didn't make it to the castle. There's a lot of mythology and a lot of stories behind that. So when we ever go back, we were going to take the trip because I think it's about 3 or 4 hours out
it's from the main. What's the capital? Budapest.
Well, we'll do it together then when I'm out there in Romania at the U.
Bucharest.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for jumping in here today, and I appreciate it. And again, I'm going to give these folks that are watching this all your information. So if they're thinking about competing and want to join, I'm sending them your way.
Naturalbodybuilding.com.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you, Mike.
Have a great day.
You as well.
Too.
Take care.